Alright guys, so welcome back to another episode of Travel with Carter. Today we're talking about something a little bit different. Just wanted to share some of my worst travel mistakes I've made after being to 87 countries so far. So hopefully you guys can learn from it and these things won't happen to you, and you can have a much better experience than the few times I had some tough travel days. So enjoy the episode. Alright, so the first of my travel mistakes, this one is one of my favorite countries in Brazil, but I've had two rough goes there in the past 4 or 5 times I've gone there. So the first time was about, I believe, around maybe 10 years ago now. And I was trying to go there for my first time. I'd done a bunch of research on Canadian websites and American websites, and long story short, I made a pretty big mistake. Okay, so the mistake I made was not having a visa. So I showed up there in Rio de Janeiro after a very long flight from Calgary to Houston to Rio, which was, I believe, close to 16 or 18 hours of travel. I was exhausted. I get there and they say, where's your visa? And I said, I didn't think I needed one. They said, well, you're Canadian and you need one to enter. So I said, you know, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Is there any way I can buy one here, a visa on arrival? They said, no. I said, okay, am I able to go to the consulate or embassy and, you know, pay the idiot tax for not doing my homework properly and then carry on with my day? They said, absolutely not. So they said, you got to come with us, sir, and sit in this little white room. So I was in there with another gentleman, both of us kind of looking at each other, knowing we both screwed up, and we were being sent home to our respective countries. So yeah, it was 10 hours in that little white holding cell in the airport. They did give me lunch and just sat there dumbfounded, playing on my phone for the majority of the day until I could get out, and I had to fly back to Canada essentially. So I was just devastated by this experience. So I was supposed to be down there. This was in February for Carnival, one of the biggest parties in the world, as most of you know. So yeah, I was again quite upset that it didn't work out. So I'm an eternal optimist by nature, and my flight was connecting through Houston, so I'd already had the time off work, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna make the best of it. So I got off in Houston. I didn't fly all the way to Calgary, and I took a bus to New Orleans. So I went down there and ended up having a absolute blast at Mardi Gras. I went to Atlanta for 4 or 5 days as well, had a great time there, and yeah, just really had an amazing trip. So you know, especially with travel, I've learned over the years where you can't control a lot of things. In this case, I absolutely could have controlled it and should have done my homework better beforehand. It's taught me to be a better traveler now, but yeah, I didn't get too upset about it. I just kind of rolled with the punches. Luckily, I was traveling alone, so I was able to just pivot and yeah, I ended up having an amazing time in Mardi Gras in New Orleans, and which is maybe the second or third biggest party in the world. So I didn't get to the biggest one. I still need to go. So maybe this February I'll make it down to Brazil, but I'd love to go experience Carnival and in Rio. It's one of the best in the world, and I will get there one day. But yeah, hopefully you guys can learn from that. Get your visa, do your research, check with your country beforehand before booking any flights to any countries. The last part of that story, another positive that came out of it was I was actually able to get a airline credit for that, as the airline should not have allowed me to get on the flight essentially. So they made a mistake, I made a mistake. So yeah, they gave me a airline credit, so my flight was free, and yeah, had a great time in Mardi Gras. So yeah, there you go.
Hey all, sorry to pause the video right here. I just need to ask a big favor from all of you. So currently only about 10% of all the people watching my videos are subscribed. So if you could please hit that button down below, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a stranger, for God's sakes. That's how this channel grows, and I can work on my goal of being the first person with type 1 diabetes to go to every single country in the world. So it's not just for me though, there is something in it for you. So for every time my subscriber count doubles, I'll be giving out a nice gift pack with some local delicacies and treats from the countries that I visited. I'll throw in a flag, some nice coffees, etc. So I gave one out at 500, gave one out at 1,000, gave one out at 2,000. Can't wait to give one out at 4,000. And again, that could be sent to you by hitting that subscribe button down below. Thanks so much for all the support. Stay golden, all.
All right, so Brazil, second time. Believe me, I do love this country. I just had some bad luck there. So this was a few years ago. The mine I was working at ran out of money, closed down. So I went there, just had a few months in between jobs. So went there and I was going to explore some other countries in South America, or so I thought. So I went down and unfortunately there was yellow fever issues in Brazil at the time, and I could not find my Canadian yellow fever paperwork. So tried numerous times to numerous countries to get out of Rio, but they wouldn't allow me to go without that. So what I ended up doing was I got a vaccine done in Rio, thinking I'd be good to go, but unfortunately not. So it took a few days to get the card, and then they wouldn't issue me the card afterwards because I'm not Brazilian. So I had the vaccine done. I still couldn't go to any of the surrounding countries in South America, so I was yeah, ticked off on that. I ended up going over to Europe just as another, again, pivot, if you will. So I flew over to France, and then I went to Italy and Albania, and had a great time in all three places. And yeah, I was able to make some good content, as you guys can check out. And yeah, it was, again, a very interesting experience. So I got back to Canada, had this vaccine paperwork. I even had the box that the vial of vaccine came in, and I was thinking to myself, okay, I got to be able to get it transferred here somehow, and worst case, I'll get another vaccine shot if I need to. But I just need this paperwork for a lot of countries. So so I was in Vancouver near the airport, and popped into this clinic, and I just asked the lady if they were able to transfer it from the clinic I got it done in Brazil. And the lady was a little excited, to say the least, when I first walked in, and she was turns out she was having a really bad day. I was quite patient with her and quite kind, and she, you know, ended up thanking me endlessly. So what she ended up doing was giving me a new card on Canadian documentation, as I was able to prove that I had the vaccine done in Brazil. Explained the kind of tricky situation I was in, and then yeah, she only charged me a minimal fee to do the paperwork transfer. So again, if you are watching, I was telling her about the channel when I was getting it done. Thank you so much for that. I've had to use that in a couple countries since, and yeah, again, big lesson for all of you is make sure, as I said with the flight in the first part, or the visa, sorry, just double check what vaccines you need in order to enter a country. Obviously, after COVID, we've all learned how serious this is, but especially if you have connecting flights, which a lot of times I do, coming from Canada, so it's either connecting through the States or through Europe to get to Africa or South America. So it's really important that you have all the information on what vaccines are required, and you have the appropriate paperwork prior to trying to get to one of those countries, because they won't let you on the plane. And yeah, I just wanted to share this tricky story from Brazil again. But again, I do love Brazil. I've had a couple hiccups there, but I've learned from them, and yeah, can't wait to go back again. All right, so this one's another tough one. So this is one I happened maybe 15 years ago. I was in Las Vegas, and for those of you that have been, amazing city, a lot of great people, a lot of fun things to do, and but yeah, this was an experience. It still happens today, but at the time CDs were a big thing. So this group of gentlemen were trying to sell me CDs on the street, a demo CD they called it. So you know, they put it in my hand, and there's 4 or 5 of them, and they're explaining that this person's going to be the next big music artist, etc. And I was like, no, I'm good, no thank you, no thank you, trying to give the CD back. And then yeah, after about my 10th no thank you, trying to get out of this situation, I said, boys, like I'm not interested, I'm not gonna buy it. I download my music if I'm interested, etc. And I don't even have a CD player, so yeah, just tried to lighten the mood and get out of it. So as soon as I said boys, they went from 0 to 100. So they were just instantly kind of crowding on me, like almost shouldering me a little bit. And the one fella says, who you calling boy and this and that, and how dare you call us boy? And I was like, okay, shoot. So these guys took it as a racial offensive remark, which was not my intent at all. I just, I use that term with people at work. I use that term in friends and colleagues and stuff, and through sports in my life. But the last thing I was thinking was to make it an offensive term, but they took it as such. So long story short, what I learned from that, I ended up having just to push the one guy away and just sprint away, as I didn't want to get into a fight. It felt like I was going to get roughed up, and I just basically just ran down the street as fast as I could to get away from these guys. So what I learned from that was really important to know the local language where you're going. Do your research on what might be offensive. Just be extra cautious, I guess, with terms and slang especially. So what may be okay with you and your group might be totally offensive in other countries. Another thing is just hand gestures and stuff as well. So you can see I talk with my hands a lot, but something that might work in your country may be completely offensive in another. So that's where I trust local knowledge and a lot. I often will hire a guide or go on like a free walking tour, and I'll ask these questions, just kind of learn from the locals as to how things go. And I'm just curious by nature. So, but it's again experiences like this that have helped me learn that words have power. And although my heart was not in a bad place, they took it as such. And again, I'm lucky that I didn't end up with some injuries there. So if those guys are watching, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you are a famous musician now 15 years later. But at the time I was not interested in buying that CD. So there you go. All right, so another mistake I made, or many mistakes I made, was during COVID, which was obviously a unique time for all of us. And traveling through COVID was very challenging and frustrating, because it was I felt like the bar kept moving. So it was what was okay for now or traveling to a place, now the rules changed on the way back. So I often got stuck doing a lot of COVID tests at the airport, even though I may have already done one previously in another city or another country. I would still have to do it one at the airport at a high cost, $200-300 before being able to board the plane. So felt like they almost handcuffed you. You were cornered into doing it, or else you're not getting on the plane. So again, I got stuck in those situations quite a bit, as I'm sure many of you did. One kind of funny one was I was in Calgary and trying to leave, believe going through the States, doesn't really matter, but so I had to do a test there. So the lady was about to put the stick in my nose to tickle my brain for the COVID test. And I said, you know what, don't use this nostril, use this one, please, as I had a bleeding nose last night. And then she's kind of looking at me like I got two heads and was maybe doing some drugs or something, which I was like, trust me, I was not. But I just had a really bad nosebleed, and just don't want you to make my nose bleed again if we don't need to. So she agrees and does it on this nostril. But then she also said that, did you know that blood coming from your nose could be a sign of COVID? I said, no, I didn't know that. So turns out, it should have took 20 minutes for the results, but she came back in about 7 minutes and kind of came out rushing. She's like, you need to put a mask on, you need to go home, you're not allowed to travel, and you definitely have COVID. So I was like, oh shoot. So I ended up having to isolate in a hotel for a week, and yeah, it was one of those unfortunate things, but yeah, just the experience as a whole was not something I'd like to experience again, and I hope, yeah, we never go down a path like that with any diseases. But I've just again learned that yeah, I make sure that I'm vaccinated up to date with my flu shots and COVID boosters and any other vaccines I need, as well as well, the paperwork, so that I can prove, should I need to get to a certain place, that I have that. And it's not just for entry into places, it's also with type 1 diabetes. I do have a compromised immune system, so that's where I want to make sure that I'm looking after myself and I'm not getting ill. And planes are definitely a place where it just feels like colds and flus spread like wildfire. So you're in a tube for long periods of time. A lot of people are sick, they're coughing, etc. So that's where, yeah, I try my best to avoid it by taking my vaccines and vitamins and etc. So yeah, hopefully these stories again are helping A, put a smile on your face, and B, preventing you guys from similar mistakes. All right, last one to share for this episode. So I was in Dubai, I had an amazing time. I had a great time in Oman, and on my way back from Oman, I had a brief stopover in Dubai on my way back to Canada, which I lost this bag, and that freaked me the heck out. But as you can see me holding it right now, I got it back, and it ended up working out really well in the end. So super frustrating experience though. I had about a 7-hour layover in Dubai. Beautiful airport. Was looking forward to just relaxing in the lounge and having a good meal, and then taking the long flight from Dubai back to Canada. Now, I again got some misleading information, as I had booked with a separate airline my flight from Dubai to Oman. So they told me that I would be able to just transfer or go to the transfer desk, and they would transfer my luggage from the one airline to the second one. I don't need to leave the airport, and then can carry on. So I didn't need to go out. That wasn't true. When I got to Dubai, they did make me exit and then go back in, recheck the bag, and carry on. So while this confusion was happening, I had to take a couple trains from one terminal to the other, and multiple times. So I amongst this, my sugar was going a little bit low. I had my backpack, I had my sling bag, I had my luggage. I'm dragging all three, and I accidentally left the sling bag on the train between the two terminals, which just put me into a frenzied state. So once I realized that I'd lost the bag, it took me a few minutes. I was at the transfer counter trying to get my paperwork, and then I, doing one of these, and I realized, oh shoot, I must have dropped it. So I went back down, which the Dubai airport's quite big. So went back down, which is, a 10-minute walk or 15-minute walk each way to the airport or to the transfer place. Spoke with the security guard, spoke with multiple people there, and they're saying, sir, there's nothing we can do. They tried calling on the radio, couldn't get a hold of the bus driver. So they just said, you go to your gate, and hopefully, it'll turn up in the next 4 to 5 hours, and you can get it before you leave. So again, I'm not really loving that answer, not loving having it. So I had my wallet in the bag. The only thing I had on my person was my phone and my passport and boarding passes. So anything else was in my bag. So I was still able to do some things, but no money, essentially. Now, I shouldn't say no money, because I was able to use my Google Pay tap feature on my phone for some things, but for others, I wasn't. So it was a nightmare situation, just stressed out to all heck. I ended up going to the security, airport security in all three terminals, putting in a claim, asking them to assist. And as I was in the security office, I realized just how big it was and how often this happens. So They had hundreds and hundreds of items in there. While I was there, they had a couple families come and collect items that they had lost as well. So I was feeling pretty good. And they kept stressing that there's minimal theft in UAE. So yeah, put in the claim with security. I did the same with the Dubai police that they had at the airport as well. So that took, you know, a few hours to put in these claims. I put in a claim with the airline as well. So essentially 3 separate claims. And yeah, I was just exhausted, ready to go home at this point. But again, needed to eat, and they wouldn't let me in the lounge, unfortunately, because I wasn't super elite on this airline. So I couldn't even eat for free. But again, met some great people along the way that helped. So yeah, there's a really kind gentleman that was one of the managers of the airline that I was flying, and he actually gave me his own personal lunch card to let me get a sandwich and a coffee as I had, yeah, again, a handful of hours before the next flight. And I explained that, yeah, I was starving and had no cash, so he was able to help me out of his own pocket. And he did stress that, yeah, it's not the airline helping you out, it's me personally, and then I'll give you my lunch voucher. So very kind. And again, I did tell him about the channel, so hopefully you are watching, and I truly do appreciate your support. You helped me out when I was down and out and having a rough day. So that was a really good person. On the flip side, I couldn't get help for the life of me from the one terminal to the second. So I asked about 15 different taxi drivers if they would do it for free. None of them would. I explained the situation, that I lost my wallet, and I said, you know, as soon as I get access to it again, I will email you some money. I'll make it up to you in you know, in the coming days if you help me out. And none of them would, unfortunately. So I ended up walking from the one terminal to the other, which was or sorry, I walked the majority of, no, I did walk all the way there, and then it was, yeah, 40-degree heat, and took me probably 45 minutes or so to get from the one terminal to the other. And then I was starting to walk back with my luggage, and somebody pulled over, saw me sweating, and offered to help. So they gave me a ride the second half of the way to the terminal I needed to get to. So very kind of that person to do that. But before that happened, I asked those 15 taxi drivers. None of them would help me out. So I said, okay, I got to make something work here. So what I ended up doing was I gave the guy a tablet I had. It was an older tablet, yeah, probably four years old or 5 years old. I didn't really use it a ton anymore. So I said to him, I said, yeah, this is worth a lot more than the whatever the price was roughly, I think, $20 US or something to get from the one terminal to the other. I said, you know, this is worth a lot more. I hope you have a young kid at home and can use it, and turned it on, show them that it worked. And I said, I'll give you this if you'll take me there. So the guy did end up paying for the taxi himself, ran the meter and stuff, and then took my tablet as a payment. So again, hopefully a young kid is watching on a tablet that was given to you by your grandfather or father, and I hope, yeah, it's helping you with your schoolwork. And again, that was something, again, I was trying to make a good out of a tough situation, and my thinking was that yeah, that this person can make a lot of good out of this tablet. Again, would have been nicer if they said, yeah, don't worry about it, I'll do it for free. But yeah, when I was in a tough spot, I needed to get to that terminal to catch my next flight, and between a rock and a hard place where I didn't have cash, and they took advantage of that. And again, being an optimist, I'm hoping that, yeah, some young kid is using it for schooling and to help better their education. All right, so I got back to Calgary in Canada after that trip. Again, still stressed out. Days go by without getting any word on where my sling bag might be. So I still had a little bit of faith where, again, they stressed that, yeah, there's very little crime, if not zero crime in the UAE. And again, everything was under video surveillance in the train and the airport and stuff. So they're like, nobody's going to steal it. But yeah, I needed to replace my license as I replaced one credit card and one bank card. I chose not to replace my license and other credit card, just as I did have hope that it would reappear, which it did. And but yeah, it was just a pain dealing with the only the Google Tap feature on my phone for I think another week or two before it actually showed up. So I had to go back up to work, and when I'm in work, I stay in a work camp. As you can see right here, I'm in a work camp right now. So they got all the food is covered. I don't need money while I'm here, which is really nice and convenient, and especially in a situation like that. So I went up to work, and then when my shift was done, I got a call from the airline saying that we found it, we're going to ship it tomorrow, and it just worked out really good that I was traveling the next day. So I was able to go to the airport, pick it up from the security there, and then, or baggage claim, I should say, and then I was able to go on my next flight a few hours after that. So really good, feel good story. The people are honest, people are good, 95% of people, I say, and this showed some of the highlights in it. So I wasn't missing anything. I had my I had some cash in it. I had three types of currency. I had US, Canadian, and UAE dirhams, and all of that was still in there. There was a few $100s worth of cash that easily could have been taken by anybody along the way, but it was all there. My vaccine paperwork and my GoPro. So what I'm shooting on right now was in the sling bag as well. So that was the thing I was worried about the most. I forgot to mention until now, but I had all this amazing footage from Oman. You can check out the video from Oman. I had amazing footage there, and half my Dubai trip, or UAE trip. So I was really stressed out, thinking I'd lost all that footage. I don't know when I'll be able to come back again, and if ever, and shoot it. So yeah, that was a big travel mistake, but thankfully I had good people on my side, was able to get it all back, and thank you all for those of you that helped me in all those stories that I shared. You see the goodness in people when you're put in a tough situation, and I've learned it's okay to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness